Oh, what's going on, everybody? How you all doing tonight? Welcome to the live stream. I thought we'd start off a little bit different today with this video on how they make the hand-blown Chemex, which I thought was, actually, I've never seen this video before. This is the first time I've seen it. That was actually quite nice, quite interesting. So the Chemex, we're starting off with the Chemex because, whoa, sorry about that. We're starting with the Chemex because it's the 80th anniversary of the Chemex, and they've come out with a new limited edition release that I thought I'd show you right here. We'll show you here to have a look at this. This is the hand-blown 80th anniversary Chemex for nearly $200. Now, it's out of stock. They only made 100, so I'm sure they blew out of there right away. But if you can still get one somewhere, it might be kind of interesting to have. So, they're using, so as you can see, the collar that they have on the Chemex is made of wood, and this one has 3 different types of wood. There's a Purple Heart and maple and mahogany, and it's quite attractive. It has 2 little coasters so you can keep it, and then of course it has the leather tie that goes around the collar. And the Chemex, just one of those classic American brewing devices, started like in 1941 by this guy Schlumbaum, up in, he was in New York State, I believe, at the time. Now the company's based out of Pittsfield, Massachusetts, in Western Massachusetts. And, yeah, so it's kind of a handsome little brewer there. So if you can get one, cool. If not, it comes in this retro kind of box. And I remember reading the description about it. It said, what did it say? It had a vintage-inspired package, and I was like, oh. When I first started in coffee 20 years ago, the packaging wasn't that attractive. So nice to see they've gotten really pretty. Actually, they've redone their packaging over the years, and yeah, so it's completely different now. But how y'all doing today? Welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in. It is now, what is it, we're in September now. So here's the crazy thing. Okay, so we've had hot weather. Baltimore's known for heavy, humid heat. Even when it's not that hot, it's very humid, so it's just miserable, right? And so it's weird. Like, September 1st comes, and we have this massive, the remnants of Ida. So it's big rains, tornadoes, kind of exciting. And then today, gorgeous weather, beautiful clear skies, no clouds, kind of like 9/11 was. So I was a little bit worried, but cool, really quite cool. Like, to the point where last night, after the rains, I was outside and I had to wear a jacket. And I was like, man, you know what? Baltimore just doesn't Baltimore doesn't give you nice, beautiful weather, like really like comfortable, warm. It has to be kind of comfortable but cool. It's very strange. Anyway, we're moving on. Yeah, so there's Mark. How you doing, Mark? First pour over ever? You mean on the show, or was that my first pour over years ago? I don't remember what my first pour over was. It could have been. There's Di. What's going on, Di? How you doing today? Today was beautiful. It was beautiful. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I had to work in the new part of the roastery, so there's a lot of construction happening, and I'm building a lot of stuff. So it's pleasant that it's not too hot, because otherwise I'm basically, I don't want to turn the AC on in there because it's just me by myself, and it costs money. So usually I'm just going bare chested, and I don't think people want to see that. So yes, for sure, the grandfather pour, absolutely. And Baltimore's good weather 2 weeks into the spring, and yeah, that's the really sad part of it. It's like, give us more. If you could give us more nice weather a lot longer, it'd be much more enjoyable. All right, so speaking of Chemex, that's what we're going to brew today, because it seemed like the appropriate thing at the 80th anniversary. So I've got my Chemex, and this is the Chemex 6 cup. And this is the type of Chemex that I've been using for quite a long time now. And this is the Chemexes that we used at the shop. And the 6 cup is, the one you saw in the video is actually the larger size, the 8 cup. And this one is the 6, so it's a little bit smaller. It has a slightly different shape. If you notice on the hand blown, it's a little bit sharper here at the bottom. But These are machine made somehow. I wonder if they have a video of machine making. Anyway, maybe we'll do that next time. But the Chemex is this beautiful design, and it's really pretty enough that the Museum of Modern Art decided to include the Chemex, the hand-blown version, with the wood collar as part of their permanent collection because it's an icon of American design. And it's really been it's been lasting a long time. People really love it, and yeah, it's great. But here's the thing: like, this is the Chemex, right? It's got this great shape to it. Sorry, it's a little bit dirty. I didn't dry it I didn't wipe it dry after I washed it last. But that's all right. And this thing here is just attractive, right? There's like a built-in spout. There's a little dimple here to let you know when you've reached the amount of coffee that you need. And this particular version has the glass handle. And why do I like the glass handle? Because I can just wash this, right? And when you're in the shop environment, you're washing it, every day. Not every day, but, every so many hours or a few minutes or whatever. Every time you're using it, rinsing it out. So, to hold it with the collar, and then if you really have to wash it, then I don't want to leave the collar on, so I want to take the collar off, and it just becomes a bit of a hassle. So the glass handled is the perfect for the commercial environment. All right, so that's pretty much it. But here's the thing. So I think we talked about this in one video not too long ago. While this is what everybody loves, this is the true secret of the Chemex. This pine-based fibrous paper filter. Like, you can see kind of the fibrousness of the material. Can you see that? Oh, too much light. Washing it out. All right. But you can kind of see it, right? And that's really the key to the Chemex. All the flavor of the Chemex is derived from this filter, not really this shape. You could put this in practically any vessel that'll hold it, and you'll make essentially Chemex coffee. Where if you, like we did the other week, where we put the metal filter in, we made something that wasn't too tasty. So there's George. What's going on, George? Nice to see you. Welcome back. Haven't missed too much. We did a video on the Chemex. It's the 80th anniversary of the Chemex, so that's why we're brewing with it today. Oh, the fold. You want to see the fold? Welcome to the fold. So this is the FS. That's right, FS100 filter. So they have the FS, which is the square filter, and there's the FC, which is the circular filter. The only difference is the way that it sits on top. Like, the circular filter fits evenly on top, where this has its kind of legs showing. So it's really kind of more of your style. So when you fold it up, and then you can actually buy the filter paper flat. What you have to do is fold it in half and then fold it in half again. So you get a square in this case, or you get like a triangle, right? In the other sense. And then what you do is that now you have 4 folds, right? So you take 3 of the folds and you hold them to one end, and it creates a little pocket, right? There we are, a little pocket. And that's where you're going to place those 3 plies of paper against the spout, right? Against the spout, like this. And then you're going to take your coffee and pour it inside. Now you notice we're not pre-rinsing the filters. I found in our testing, there's actually a video, that there is bleach papers do not impart flavor to the water. So, but those natural brown paper, man, you can taste the paper so much. And then all of the ones I've tested, you can totally taste it. So, clear white paper filters, no need to rinse. Brown paper filters, rinse a lot. It's counterintuitive. I haven't seen the illustration, but yes, I totally understand what you're saying. If there's anything I learned in Hawaii public schools, yes, probably. Rump, thank you. See, prep school education didn't do me any good. All right, so now we've got our coffee in the filter. We're going to get our water. All right, we've got our water just off the boil. And now we're going to pour and saturate the grinds. Now we're starting to drip. Oh, good. Oops. We also want the starter timer going up. Good. Now we're going to add some water. The one thing about the Chemex is that you typically add about an ounce and a half at a time. I'm not running this with a scale today, so we're just going to have to go with the professionalism. And George says half the reason I rinse ahead of time is to, oh, that's fine. There's not, you don't, I'm just saying you don't have to rinse. If you want to rinse all you want. And yes, it is nicer when you pre-warm the vessel. We used to do a filter rinse, but after testing the filters and tasting them, there was no impartation of flavor from the filter, a white filter, bleach white filters. So we stopped doing that. We stopped doing that because we only use bleach white filters. You know, the environmentalists are all like, "Oh, you need to use natural brown." And what? Why? It's like, I am brown. Do I need to make my filters brown too? Still a ratio of 2-to-1 water to grounds. Yes, we're still using 24 grams. Well, is it really a 2-to-1 ratio? I don't know what ratio it is. Somebody more, but 2 grams per finished ounce. So 12 ounces, 24 grams. And we're just rolling along. So as you can see, the coffee is brewing. Let's give it a little, oh gosh. You can see here, there's the coffee bed. And Mark's saying he would love an electric version of the Kalita, the duckbill kettle. This one? Yeah, that would be kind of nice, huh? This is one of my, this is one of my favorite kettles. I like the way that the beak comes to a very fine point. Actually, this design was designed by Ichiro Sekiguchi from Cafe de l'Ombre, and he got Kalita to make them, and Kalita's been making them for him as well as for their own line ever since. But it allows you to do really, really super intricate and like detailed pouring. Like you can really control it. Well, if you're very good at it. I'm not so good at it, but you can control it to a very fine degree. And George says, that's what I meant. Ground support. Oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, the shape of the neck is really nice. It's really kind of difficult to find these kettles here in America, though. I don't know if anyone has them. Mark, I don't know if you've seen them anywhere. These were actually given to me by one of my good friends in Manila, who's also a distributor in the Philippines of Kalita. And he was like, I wanted to give these to you. And I was like, well, man, very kind, very kind. Raymond has a coffee shop and distribution house And speaking of house, the coffee we use today is our House Nation coffee. So it's kind of our blend of, this one is a blend of Nicaraguan and Ethiopian coffees. Oh, I think that's good. And we are good to go, good to go. All right, so now that's pretty much dripped out. All right, the coffee is ready. Let us pour some. So the House Nation is really the coffee we used at the shops, just because, you know, we wanted to have a coffee that's very approachable. And I think in one of the episodes recently where I talked about the cupping, you know, and especially tasting those Brazilian coffees, you know, you're looking for coffees that, well, not in this case, but in some of them, but you're looking for coffees to create a flavor profile, much like blending cigars or blending wines, and one that can be replicated, or it's up for you to replicate, you know, throughout the seasons and, you know, with all the variations in crops and availability. And George says, Americans are vulgarians who don't prize design. Well, we can't say that completely. I mean, you know, the MoMA did put this in their permanent collection. So, all right, so here we are. Soft, not soft, but the one thing about this coffee, very much like I'm trying to get very cacao, rounded, good body, like not a heavy body, but just a nice medium, firm kind of body. Something that's going to be accessible, but also interesting. So we got really dark, deep cacao notes, medium to full-bodied, but not too full. And there's a nuttiness, a light nuttiness on the finish, and the finish is rather crisp. This is the kind of coffee that I would like to drink. And, well, that's why I blended it this way. But I would like to drink it with whatever I'm eating. If I want a croissant, chocolate, plain croissant, chocolate croissant, ham and cheese croissant, perfect. Lox and bagels, not bad. Pancakes. All right, so that's it. That's it. We're rolling along. George says, museum curators, well, that's true. That's true. Museum curators are not typical consumers, but we have to have museum creators that have good vision so that they can help guide our way as a people, as a society, right? I guess. All right, so how you all doing this week? Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate you being here. If you're watching the replay, thank you very much also for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments on any of this, drop them in the comments below here in the live stream, or if you're watching later, drop them in the comments and I'll answer them, or if you have a question, I'll put them for next week's show. Yes, the color is nice. Huh? Look at that. Let's see that. Let's see what's the lighting. Whenever I put the hard LED on it, it always looks it looks like it's under extracted. But this is nicely brewed coffee, All right, so now I guess it's time to move on to our cigar of the week. Again, this cigar of the week this week comes from Tobacco Leaf in Jessup, Maryland. Rahul is there to help you with all of your cigar needs. Give him a call at 410-799-2094. And there's a schedule of cigars coming up. We got a couple more cigars coming for the next few weeks. However, next week, if you guys haven't heard already, we're moving the show up to New Jersey. We're going to Ridgewood, New Jersey, to the Tobacco Shop's Davidoff Lounge, where we're going to be having our next week's episode. George is coming, Cirillo's coming, Rusty's coming. We're trying to get everybody to come out and enjoy. We're going to have really interesting stuff going on. We're going to have maybe some snacks and some surprises if you come. So if you make it to the actual broadcast, there'll be some surprises, and I think you'll find it worth your while. So if you have the time, make your way over to Ridgewood, New Jersey on Thursday. Come down around 6 or so. That way you get a chance to... The shop closes at before the show starts at 8 o'clock. So come down around 6. We'll be there. Meet Gary, the owner. Get a tour of the facility. Get to buy some cigars. Check out his humidor. It's going to be really, really cool. I'm really looking forward to it. So, yes. And even George says next week will be a party. George's been really like great and putting it all together, helping us, get everything in order, and just being like, you've been really great, George. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So I'm really excited and looking forward to going. It's really good times. And George, it's not like last week. Yeah, last week. Sometimes you just make a mistake. All right, so this week we are smoking the Lampert 1675. This is the Toro. And the Lampert is an interesting cigar. So the founder of Lampert is this guy from Austria, a guy named Stefan Lampert, maybe Lampert, Austrian, because it's right on the border with France. So it could be Lampert or Lampert. I'm not sure, but evidently Dr. Lampert was in Thailand in 2016 and decided that, hey, you know what, I want to start my own cigar. And so he started his own cigar, and he made a line called Cigar Lab, and then he started out with something called Ocean Breeze, and then, that's my understanding. And so this is, the 1675 Blue, what is it called? Blue Azul, is that right? Edition Azul. This is like his most recent release, and he went to, what's the name of the place? He went to Fabrica Agrotabacos in Nicaragua, where he worked with this girl by the name of Indiana Ortez. And Indiana is the daughter of Omar Ortez, who owns Fabrica Agrotabacos. Gosh, it's been so long since I've been traveling, so it's difficult. My pronunciation is getting worse. And so here's the thing, especially for all of us old guys that are like, oh, the new generation, millennials and all that. Indiana Ortez is only 25 years old, and she blended this cigar. It's not her first blend. She's worked with Ventura Cigars and some other companies, but came up with her father's company, learning how to roll, how to do the bonchero, how to do the rolling, how to do everything. And now is doing a little bit of blending. And so when Stefan Lampert decided that he wanted to make a cigar with Agrotabacos, he went to Omar and said, I'm going to do a collaboration with your daughter, Indiana. Every time I say Indiana, I always think about Jones. And Grudge says, my pleasure, Gary, I'm looking forward to it. Rusty says, Rusty's coming down. Oh, and also Rusty has agreed to do our coffee segment next week. So next week's coffee will be Rusty's presentation, not mine. You get to get somebody else's opinion finally. And Di, you should definitely come up. If you can't get a breakaway, just come up and join us. Yeah, it'd be great to have you. But if you're not, that's all right to be at home and watching. We do need somebody to at least let YouTube know that someone's interested. Oh, and George says Indiana also took over for Claudia at Mombacho. Ah, yes, I did see that but does that mean that she's no longer with her dad at Agrotabacos? All right, so let's have a look. Nice band. Kind of classic. Very European. Very European. I think that's the Lampert shield, family crest. There's a nice aroma, like manure, like like barnyard. Yes, I agree that the wrapper does look really, really nice. It feels silky, a little bit of a light, like silky oiliness to it. Really, really nice. All right, Don, we will have you on the live stream. Looking forward to having you. All right, so let's do some cutting. We might as well get started. Oh, that's what's missing. Since I haven't used this exact setup in 2 weeks, there we go. A little bit better with the light. Okay, good. I'm gonna cut. Oh gosh, maybe not so good with the cutting. Oh, that's not bad. It looks better. All right, so yes, the Xikar MTX. Cut. My favorite cutter. There's a nice tobacco sweetness on the tongue. Not like a sweet cap, but just a nice sweetness, tobacco sweetness. Ooh, that's pleasant. The cold draw is very pleasant, very kind of sweet. Just sweet tobacco. Sweet tobacco. All right. Now to light. We're gonna torch it. Try not to get too close this time. A little roasting. You know, when I was younger in cigars, we would take a lot of time to like roast from afar and do all this technique. But as lately, it's just been like, okay, we're just going to light the damn thing. You know, we're not too much preamble. We need to get back to more. Maybe we need to go back to more of that ritualistic lighting. Ooh, so the first puff, there is really nice sweet tobacco. These first puffs, sweetness, pleasant. It's like the best way that I can describe this, it's very welcoming. It's like you start off and you're like, oh, there's nice sweetness, there's nice tobacco, there's nice, maybe hints of cinnamon. But the most important thing is that you're not getting a forcefulness, right? And a lot of times with the cigars, you're getting force, right? Like this big, strong, I'm Nicaragua, right? Soy Nicaragua, right? This is like a welcoming, like a taste of flavors, sweetness, tobacco, lightly spiced, good body. Ooh, very enjoyable. The very first few puffs, very enjoyable. George asked, fresh maybe? I don't know. I mean, it could be. I mean, I have had this particular cigar now for probably a month. So I don't know if that's too fresh, but you know what? It's pleasant. Actually, it's the way that it starts is exciting. Like I want to smoke more. Like it's like, oh, what do we have? What is this going to offer? Now, here's the problem with that, right? Like, so it gives this like welcoming and like beautiful flavors and really interesting, which means that if it doesn't hold up, will you be disappointed? I mean, very floral, very clean, but just yeah, beautiful. There is a sweetness, like a tobacco-y sweetness, that I think is just very welcoming. So if you're just joining us, thank you very much. This is the Lampert 1675 Azul Edition Toro, Edition Azul Toro. And man, it's starting off really well. Like really, it's starting off beautifully, beautifully. And we're also drinking our Spur Coffee's House Nation, brewed in the Chemex, because it's the 80th anniversary of Chemex. So we brewed up some in their honor. It's becoming there's a little more brightness coming out now. But nice, we're starting off well. So how's everyone doing? What'd you guys do this week? Anything interesting? I've been building here at the roastery. We've been, like I said last week, we got some extra space, and we've been moving in, changing a lot of things around, and so my landlord had a whole bunch of stuff piled in this space, so I had to move it. I've been packing it all and moving it and storing it in another area of the building, just to make more space. And yeah, it's coming along well. It's coming along well. We also have this big fan in the space, exhaust fan, and it was disconnected. For some reason, it was disconnected from power. And I knew the previous tenant, who was a woodworker, Bill, he'd used it for many years. But he moved out like about a year ago. So in the year's time, whatever happened. So we finally ran some electric to it, and man, this thing is pulling like crazy. Like I don't even know how to describe it's forceful. And when you're smoking in there, it's like the smoke. It's really, the problem is that in its current configuration, it is loud. Like it is, yes, it's sucking your smoke away from you, because it's basically like you're sitting next to the engine of 737. Di says it's Queen Liliuokalani's birthday as well. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, good. Happy birthday to the Queen. She is, in case you're familiar, Queen Liliuokalani was the last reigning monarch of the state of the Kingdom of Hawaii, and it was through white American merchants who decided that they were going to overthrow the government by calling in American warship to sit in Honolulu Harbor, while they proceeded to tell the Queen that she was no longer going to be a monarch. She would become a constitutional monarch, and she would be stripped of her powers and locked in a house. And so the Queen decided that she would petition Congress. So she traveled to the United States, to Washington, D.C., where she was told, okay, well, we'll work on it. And nothing happened, of course. Eventually not too long, they were annexed as a territory of the United States, and then in 1959 made into a state. So Hawaiian were just completely deposed, and they're still angry about it. Rightfully so, but they're still angry about it. I agree. Hey, George, welcome back. Good to see you. George is exhausted, but back to work. Kids come back on the 8th. Oh, really? You have another week? Ooh, that's kind of nice. Different world post-COVID with all the students in person. It's going to be... So why is everyone going... Is it just mandated by the schools now that they want everyone to be in school now? Like my niece is going back to school. She had been doing remote the entire last year. She goes to St. James, and she was telling me yesterday they're going back into the classroom. Is that a good thing? And what do you got smoking there tonight, George? Anything? And also any good libations? So we're smoking the Lampert 1675 Azul Edition Azul Toro. Starting off really nicely. Like, I'm really, really surprised at how nice it's turning out. But I also thought that we'd look up some other reviewers and see what they had to say. And we're back to the Tiny Tim blog. This guy, I like him. He's on Blogspot, which seems to be not a very... I mean, I don't know if... I didn't know people were still using Blogspot, but he's still out there posting, and I'm totally enjoying it. And what does he have to say? Oh, yeah, so it's a... Well, that's a good thing to point out. So this is a 6x52 with a Peruvian Ligero filler, as well as Nicaraguan fillers from Condega and Jalapa, Nicaraguan binder, and Ecuadorian wrapper. Okay, so let's see what it says. Test draw after cutting the cap was good. Initial flavors that light up were citrus cedar, citrus peel, almond, brown sugar, light nutmeg, and very light black coffee. There was black pepper rated at 7. You know, I just don't taste this black pepper. It's a beautiful blend. Like, is it citrus cedar, citrus peel, almond? You know, brown? Maybe. It didn't come off too much. I would say more brown sugar, and I got maybe light cinnamon. But really, like I said, welcoming and interesting. And then Rusty says, George, same here. It's weird seeing 15. Oh, my gosh. Oh, good. Everyone's back. That's good. That's good. It's nice to have everyone in a classroom setting, I think. And Di says, weather was so nice. Hopped on a bike this afternoon. Would have kept going, but it's getting dark. Drinking a Foster's Ale oil. Nice. Foster's. I haven't had Foster's in a while. And George is smoking the La Galera Maduro Robusto format alongside a 4R small. Oh, nice. Very nice. All right. So let's see what he says. So first third, 41 minutes. Wow, it took 41 minutes for the first third. He must smoke pretty darn slowly. Flavors are all the same. Citrus cedar with a little tanginess in the citrus. Brown sugar, quite a bit of nutmeg. Yeah, so I did notice there was that kind of brightness starting to develop about maybe 2 millimeters ago. So I can agree with that. The citrus peel is slighter, but still in the mix. Finish a little citrus with citrus peel and a syrup-like mixture with pretty good lingering black pepper. Is there black pepper? Sometimes I wonder, do people say black pepper because they think Nicaragua? The flavors of the cigar are nice. I wish they're a little more intense. You know, I don't think I would agree with that. I mean, I think the flavors are very nice. But do I want it to be more intense? Like when I think, like, let's say my favorite cigar, right, the Revenge by Roma. I would say there's strong intensity in their cigars throughout their line, especially when you get to like Neanderthal. Now, there's that heavy intensity. But I don't know if I want that all the time. Like it doesn't have that level of like heavy duty intensity. It has nice delicate balance. It's got balance to it, and it's balanced in a different way. It doesn't have to hit you with so much force. Which is what I also liked about that Espinosa Warzone. It had lovely complexity and balance without too much, without having to hit you over the head with it. You know what I'm saying? I think that's nice. I think it's smoking really well. Now, the price of the cigar is, what, around $13, I think? So it's a little bit on the pricier side. And, you know, it's kind of pricey. I mean, at 13, it's right where that, It's right at that, for me, it's right where at that threshold where I'm like, ooh, do I want to? Like, to be honest with you, I was at the store again the other day, and I was looking at the, I was looking at the Warzone, and I think the Warzone is what, $11, $12? And as much as I enjoyed the lightness and the balance, you know, I was thinking, because one of the things that I thought about the Warzone was that it's a lighter cigar whose flavors are reminiscent of the Revenge, right? But at $11 or so, I can still buy the Revenge cheaper. So it becomes a question of like, did I want to spend that kind of money? Oh, this is nice. So George wants to know, and with the coffee, I think it's lovely. It's lovely. It's a lovely, like there's the cacao notes in the coffee, and the body of the coffee has a nice contrast with the light spice and the floral acidity of this cigar. I think this is a nice combination. Very nice. Actually, come to think of it, with that just last taste, this might be a great way, like, to start with the morning cigar. Like, this would be a nice way to start the day. Like, it's one of those cigars that's not too heavy. Actually, which reminds me, if you remember, I joined the Privada Farm Rolled Club, and George is going to hate me on this, but I remember, so on the other day, the first one that I smoked, right, was their #1 cigar. And their #1 cigar is an undisclosed Habano with leather, hay, cocoa, vanilla, cream. Oh, it says evening. Oh, never mind. Never mind. I was going to say, man, this thing was just like beating me with a stick. And I was thinking, because they actually put that evening, afternoon, morning. And I thought for a bit that it was like a morning or afternoon. And I was like, God, that's not, that thing was like crazy. Well, you know why? Because here's the thing. I have a bunch of Revenge boxes. Actually, I don't have as many today because majority of them are propping up a monitor in another room. But maybe because I want to know, is there any cigars in here? And yes. And this is my last box right now, so I'm running dangerously low. I don't know what to do. I bought a few Avarices from Rahul the other week. Last week. They're all gone. I bought the Avarice because I was trying to stretch out the lifeline of the box of Revenge. Have to be careful when you say morning cigars. Oh, I didn't know that. But really, I think this is a flavorful cigar. Very good, very welcoming. But it's also not one that's like hitting you so that, like, if you were to have a morning coffee and a cigar, you know, you're not going to feel like, I need to, like, go chill for a while. Like, you could smoke this and have a coffee and go to work. Or do whatever you want to do during the day. Well, so what I have, there's 6 boxes stacked up doubles, 2, 3, that's 6. That's actually the monitor sitting on it so that basically for last week's setup, that's how that's what I used to prop up the monitors to the right level so I could actually see it without having to necessarily go like this. Right? I just haven't tore that setup down yet. The cigar's name for you, you're very avaricious. Well, I do enjoy their stuff. And let me be honest. I'll tell you the truth. I'll tell you a little story. So I first learned about Skip and Mike's cigars in 2013. I was in Honolulu for some reason. I was there. I think I was coming back from Asia. So usually when I'm coming back from Asia, sometimes I will swing into Honolulu for a couple of days, hang out with friends and see everyone. So one of my really good friends there, Marvin Chang, he works for a company called Arfield Winery, or Arfield Wine Company. And they started as a wine company, but they grew into all kinds of like luxury products and cigars and everything. And so when I first met Marvin many, 20 years ago, he was, 26, 27 years ago. Holy moly, it's 2021. So I met him like in 93 or 94 or something like that. And he was part of the cigar group that we were with. And he was a sommelier. And he's worked for Arfield. And so, well, fast forward, he basically runs the Arfield now. And Arfield is actually a part of a larger grocery chain called Foodland in Hawaii. They got bought out several years ago. But anyway, he runs Arfield. And so in 2013, it was like September, I think, of 2013. I'm in Honolulu, and Marvin's like, "Hey, man, we're having a cigar event at the Waikiki Yacht Club." And I was like, "Oh, cool." I happen to be a member of the Waikiki Yacht Club, so I was like, "Oh, all right, excellent. I'll come down." So I went down, and it was a Romacraft event, and for whatever we paid, you get dinner and cigars, and you got a 5-pack of cigars of Cro Magnums, Aquitaines. I'm sure there was Intemperance in there. I'm sure it was their entire line at the time. And what is it? Oh yeah. So we're there and had a nice event. You know, my cousin Bob came out too, and we were hanging out, and it was a good time. And a lot of our friends were there. So whatever. So the next day, was it a Wednesday or Thursday? Maybe it was a Wednesday, or whatever it was. So fast forward to Friday, and back then one of our friends was still living in the islands, and every Friday lunchtime he would have over a few people for a steak lunch, and he had this big green egg, and he would make these great steaks. It was really a fantastic cigars, steaks, and fantastic. And so, since Skip was in town, Marvin brought Skip along. And I don't know, but Skip's an interesting guy. Like he knew a lot about cigars. And we were talking about cigars, and he was like, let's look. And so he took apart this cigar and was like discussing the different tobaccos and primings and everything inside, which I thought was really quite impressive. He was this gringo guy, white guy from Texas, from the mainland, not a Cuban person in any kind of way. Although I guess you could call him Skip Martin, and he could be Latino. But anyway, so Skip, I don't know if he's changed or if he's the same, but he's a little bit rough sometimes. And he starts talking, somehow he has started talking about women drivers and Japanese women, Asian women drivers are terrible and blah, 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 blah. He goes on and on and on. And of course, you're in Hawaii. Everybody's Asian, right? Marvin's wife is Japanese. And he's just going on and on. And so he found a way to kind of turn people off. And so the first few times that I interacted with Skip, I kind of liked him, but also it's kind of a little bit like, who is this dude? But the one thing that I must say about Skip is that he's always been straight, and I can appreciate that with people. It's like, maybe we might have some differences in the way we do things, or whatever. But like, it just reminds me of other people that I met in the past, where like there are those who like are always, who may be a little bit brusque, but they're going to be genuine. They're going to be straight with you, and they're not giving you a lot of BS. Like, I meet some people, and they're just like, they tell you all sorts of BS, and you're like, all right. Then you find out, they tell you all sorts of things, and you find out later that it's all BS. And it's like, and so so it took a while, but I came to respect what they do. And actually, that first 5-pack that I had, I don't even think I liked any of those cigars. Like, I don't think I enjoyed any of them. Like, I was like trying to figure them out. They were at the time, they were so different than what was out in the market. I was, always smoking Tatuaje back then. Tatuaje, Paul Gamirian, a lot of PDRs, especially mostly the Serie Privada in 1975. Or did that come later? Anyway, right around that time. So the aromas were very different. Like, I don't think I really grooved with it. Actually, I didn't groove with any of them. And it wasn't until fast forward to October, when Skip happened to be in DC at that place in Bethesda. He was having events, so I went down and we were talking and hanging out, and I said, "Hey, what should I buy?" And he said, "Buy this box." And I don't know why. I think because it was only back then. It was only available in 2 different retailers, one in Charlotte and one somewhere else, and you couldn't get them. He said, "You can't get these, so buy that." So I bought it. And I have been so the Revenge actually inadvertently became, I think that's probably how it became the cigar that I learned how to smoke, and I still smoke them today. Yes, that's why I don't feature, that is the number one reason why I don't feature Roma as much on this show, because I can't deny that, I would say that I'm fanboys of, like, Roma, Tatuaje. Yeah, probably those. Yeah, and Skip, they do have a good relationship. That's nice. Oh, we'll have to bring some. I have a Burgie somewhere. Very true, very true. Very true. It has been shaped a lot by the Intemperance line. Okay, so we're moving to are we moving to second, third? Maybe. So there's actually a little more development. It's a little bit fuller bodied than it was when it started out. I'm starting to get some more body, more black pepper. There's still that light brightness going on. It's still quite interesting. The draw is good, like nice, and there's good resistance, a good amount of smoke. Not bad, not bad, not bad. So what else been happening in the world? Anything interesting? Oh, I see we're finally out of Afghanistan. And I was listening to NPR the other morning, and they were like, "Oh, we left people behind." I was like, "What? We left people behind? How is it that we ended up leaving people behind?" Right, you're not a citizen. You're not American. I get it. We're going to leave you behind. I get that part. But American citizens, we're leaving behind? What? That seems just not, it just seems not to our ideals as a nation. George says, I wasn't here in the beginning. I take the live show in New Jersey was impacted by, actually the live show is not till next weekend. Or, the New Jersey is next weekend. Or not next weekend. Next Thursday, September 9th. So if you want to break away from school and come on up to the tobacco shop, you're more than welcome to come and join us. We'd love to have you. George has been arranging some beautiful things to happen on Thursday. And Rusty's going to come out and do the coffee segment. So it should be a great time. So yeah, no, the weather is fine. The weather did not have an impact on our show for next week, for New Jersey, because that's going to be next week. Ever make rice coffee? I don't even know what that is. What is that? Put that in the description. Let me know. All right, good, good. Yeah, this is nice. This is a nice. Yeah, just to touch back on, like, I don't really feature. I try not to feature cigars that I would be fanboys of, because I think if you're really a fan of a brand or a particular line, and you know the owners pretty well, I think there can be a good question as to the objectivity of what you're doing. Like, if I was to, like, do the revenge on the show, it's like, well, what am I going to say? It's terrible? But I think it's important to at least to be acknowledging of the bias, so that, those that are, because this is how I look at it. Like, if we're talking about cigars, or talking about food, or talking about coffee, whatever we're talking about, in a kind of review kind of format, then I think it's important for you, the reader or the consumer, to know the bias of the reviewer or the writer, because you may have different biases, or you may have the same bias. Like, I'll read people's food reviews, right? And I'm looking for, and I look the ones that, and I'll try the different places I'll go to and try the dishes they're talking about. And the ones that I respond in a similar way to, those are the ones that over time I tend to trust more, because their experience, their palate is similar to mine. And so my experience should be similar to what they're experiencing. Rice coffee like oat milk? Oh. Roast of rice, caffeine free. Oh. Interesting. Oh, and Rusty says, on a New Jersey coffee note, David Waldman, who's the owner of Rojo's Roastery in just outside of Princeton, New Jersey, posted that the Lambertville Cafe and Roastery are closed. Wow, that's terrible. Wow, was there a lot of rain up there? Because, here we didn't have a tremendous amount. Wow, that's terrible. Any damage to the cigar shop? There used to be LTOC. Why can't I think of what that means? Whenever I think of cigars and initials, I always think of LCDH, La Casa del Habano. Now I'm racking my brain. LTOC. A little taste of Cuba. Gotcha. I'm not sure. Oh no. So it was much worse in New Jersey then. Is that correct? Because if I remember correctly, David's place, his place is kind of next to a stream, isn't it? Uh-oh. I think we're going to change gears. Yeah, like, gosh, that's crazy. Oh, LTOC is also in Princeton. Oh, okay. Gosh, well, I hope David and them can get their stuff back. And thanks for Rusty. Thanks for tuning in to Yasmin. Rusty introduced me to this girl, Yasmin, that was visiting Baltimore. Also in the coffee business. Actually just started working for Rojos. So does that mean? I mean, I don't know if does David have more locations, or is that the only location they have? Do you happen to recall? All right, so I've been playing around with I haven't been playing around, but for some, okay, this is what happened. I was watching Anthony Bourdain's A Cook's Tour videos, right? You can find their whole episodes on YouTube now. And I was watching this video. He's talking about what makes a great bar, and for some reason, I was so like taken by this one segment in his in that episode where, let's see, if you want to see footage, you can see the video from. Oh wow, really? Wow, I had no idea. That's craziness. Oh man, that's terrible. That's terrible. I've only been to his roastery flagship. Oh, gosh. Princeton's original used to be a second shop by the river for the Little Taste of Cuba. I imagine that they're probably if Rojo's place in Princeton's okay, then perhaps Little Taste of Cuba is still okay as well. So I'm watching this video. And the guy's making Martini. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to look into this. So I thought that I would give it a try. I tried it the other day. So here we go. We got our ice. So here's the thing. The bartenders are very interesting characters. Like, they're about as odd as baristas. Because they're so, like, geeky about it. Like, this one guy was watching. He's like, take your ice and put it in the cup. In the glass. You want to you want to cool the glass. And do the same for the vessel. You know, and this is the thing, like, and I have to say that I'm kind of the same way. Like, if these bartenders, they've got like chests and chests of ice. When you have like an ice maker, you can like be liberal with your ice. That's not working. But when you don't have an ice maker, you can't be as liberal. But we're going to try anyway. All right, so we've got our... So George says, I love martinis, vodka in particular. I put a glass in the fridge. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Yes, but you're getting cocktail chemistry from a guy that that has the same amount of training and experience as those new epidemiologists that are telling people to use the what is it? They're using a livestock. I've heard there's. I don't watch the news, to be honest with you. So I've heard recently they're using livestock kind of. I don't even know if I want to know. Ooh, nice. I feel like that I'm getting like almost halfway through, so I better start making this. All right, so we're going to take our measure, and we're going to use vermouth. This is the Koki, right? Koki, because the CH has a K sound in Italian. Koki Vermouth di Tortino. Oh, George says, Invermectin, horse dewormer. Yes, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that because you know what? Fauci can't tell me what to do. So we're going to use 1/4 ounce, no, one half ounce of the vermouth. Actually, I should do it. How do they do that? No. And then 2.5 ounces of the Roku gin. Roku from Japan. I was at the wine source the other day, and I was like, ooh, it's on sale, and it's Japanese, and it's cool. And you know they're taking their liquor very seriously. So I bought it. I normally drink Bombay Sapphire because I'm a simpleton like that. 1 ounce, 2 ounce. I wonder if YouTube allows this. 1.5 ounces. There we go. 2.5 ounces. Nice effervescence. Oh no! I forgot something. I'll be right back. All right, so those of you guys who are more into cocktails, because I'm not really a cocktail person, to be honest with you. I don't really know too much about it. I need to get the olives. So I don't know what kind of, oh, that's for later. I don't know what kind of olives you guys like for martinis. I'd like to know because I don't really know the difference. All right, so we're going to take our spoon. Yes. Free pour. I should free pour, but I don't have enough experience pouring this. So if these guys had like all this crazy technique of, you know, pinkies, and the way they held it was like all strange. All right, that's enough stirring. And we're going to get rid of we have our chilled glass now. Whoa. Wait a minute, why would I shake? I'm not going to shake it. Well, I should shake it because I'm like Bond. I'm like Bond. And then, I don't have any lemons. The olive. So this particular olive is the Spanish Gordal. I normally like the Castelveltrano, like if I'm just going to eat olives, Castelveltrano all the way. But these had the pits removed, and I thought, okay, I'll have that. All right, here we go. Oh, that was better than the last time I made it. Ooh, all right. I have a gin martini with the Roku gin and the cookie vermouth. You know, I made this the other night. You can see it on my Instagram when I made it. And man, the balance was not nice. This is really nicely balanced. Like I was drinking the other one. I was like, my God, this is what people drink. It's just too much. It was too much for me. And I'm more of a floor 7 and Coca-Cola kind of guy. But this is quite good. I'm surprised. George says, I'm a Neanderthal. Simple martini olives from Giant in the olive section. Where did I get these from? I might have got these from Giant. Oh, no, these are fancy. Look, these are $16 a pound. Oh, my gosh. Ah, okay. Vodka is a very gin is okay. Good. I think that's what I read, or I think that's what they said in the video. So I went to this YouTube guy, and he was showing how to make it. He had this ratio. I was like, oh, Actually, I think maybe he did a 1/4 ounce of the vermouth and 2 3/4 ounces of the gin. Mine's an ounce, half an ounce, which I think actually, for my palate, brings a nicer, sweeter balance to it. Yes. Now, how does it go with the cigar that Indiana blended? Do that so it's not so high. All right. Ooh. I could get more. I could get into this. So we're making vodka martini, gin martini, sorry. We're making martini. And we're smoking the Lampert 1675 Edicion Azul Toro. And we're also drinking the House Nation coffee from Spro Coffee. And George says I use way too much. You know, you're probably right. But you know what? I'm a neophyte when it comes to martini. This is the macanudo of martini. Perhaps next year. By next year, we'll be down to just kind of wafting it over the... George likes it dirty with olive juice and vodka. Can't do it with gin. I haven't tried the vodka version. I'll have to try the vodka as well. One thing I was surprised though, like I used the same, it turns out that my liquor store had the same cookie, the same brand of vermouth, and I didn't know it was brown. I thought it was clear. Maybe they have both, and I just bought the wrong one. Rate the difference between coffee or the martini. Ooh. All right, let's see what that is. We are seeing that's nice. That is actually very, very pleasant together. We do a little water. Well, now that I've had the martini, there is a diminishment to the enjoyment of the coffee with the cigar. There's more of a dryness now on my palate, on my tongue. So what I guess this means is that you can take this 1675 Azul Toro and your coffee and have a great morning smoke, right? Or later in the day, you can go out, have your 1675 Toro with a cocktail. Mark's asking, how do the flavors of cigar, coffee, and martini all play together? Good question. That's fascinating. So, as you saw, I did a sip of the martini, sip of the coffee, combined them together, swallowed, and then took a puff. The two together actually kind of negate each other. Like, it just kind of like cancels each other out. That was very strange and very interesting. So much so we'll try it again. See if we can duplicate the results. Oops. Huh. You know, it kind of neutralizes each other, cancels each other out, and then leaves the palate kind of clean for the cigar. Although I must say that I think that it does occlude the flavors of the cigar a little bit. I'm also getting rid of the band. George says, never seen a guy drink coffee and martini in the same sitting without food. Well, I thought they make coffee martinis, don't they? I mean, I don't know. I heard they make all kinds of coffee martini, chocolate martini. Well, probably in 1992. But you see new things here on the OnoLive live stream. So, you know, we're doing new, adventurous, and groundbreaking tastings here. The bartender that made this on a cook's tour, where was he from? I don't recall where he was just, you know, it was actually, to me, to be honest with you, it was one of those shows where I kind of felt they cheated. Like, I mean, he's from New York City. So you're not really, I mean, you're showing us something, but I don't know, I always felt with a cook's tour, like, his best always seemed to be when he was outside of New York, going elsewhere. But let's see. I'm going to look it up and see. Bourdain, Cooks, Tour.
Elements After one of Dale's martinis, you just might attempt all three of those activities.
See, as you can see, I was already...
Morning in New York.
Oops.
People settling into their daily rhythms, starting out alert and refreshed. He has
correctly made by the best guy for the
on the subject. Simple
ingredients
he wrote
a book.
and an obsession with being the best. There's a lot of people out there who could talk a good martini. And then there's Dale DeGroff, the guy who wrote the book on the subject.
George called it.
Really, this book right here. And I got a few questions to ask him.
Dale, I like a vodka martini. Is that really a martini?
Gin is a martini. Vodka doesn't bring any flavor to the party. I want all the flavors.
We won't worry about that, George. So that you're right. So George Wright was right. Dale DeGroff. Oh, they did have espresso martini. I thought I remember hearing them do espresso martinis. So yeah, that's where he's from. Dale DeGroff, specialty from where was he from? I think it was called.
Nothing to it. And then there's Dale DeGroff, the guy who wrote the book on the subject.
Oh, yes.
Really, this book right here. And I got a few questions to ask him.
Dale.
Dylan Prime. I guess well, of course, this was what, in early 2000s, so he's probably not there anymore. Or he might be. He might be. Sounds like a cigar, and one beverage type is the way to... Probably. It's probably not a good idea to mix. You know, they say you shouldn't mix your beverages. And George says, Dale is the godfather of modern... I didn't know, you know, I didn't, to be honest, since I'm not really a cocktail guy, I really didn't. I haven't really heard much about him until last week when I saw this video. He introduced the cocktail revival at the Rainbow Room. Oh, there has been a big resurgence, seems in like classic cocktails. I've noticed, in wherever I tend to go, there tends to be, we'll find like bars to go to, and there'll be a really heavy resurgence. Like one of the places that I like, that I think is fascinating to me, is the Le Connoisseur bar in Tokyo, in Ginza, because it's a cigar lounge and this like super kind of hardcore bar. It's in the back. It's super dark, low lighting, and he's got all these like immense selection of liquors, like alcohols, and very deep. Like you may I don't know the language, but like let's say you have these whiskeys, they'll have the series, whatever series that distillery is offering, they have this series. It's like, wow, it's pretty impressive. All the modern hipster and bartenders, I believe it. Yes. I mean, this guy, when we've had our drinks there, they're just cutting and chiseling and whatever. I really don't know what they're doing. I'm just fascinated by it. I wonder if they have a video about the place. I've never looked that up. Oh, the answer to that is no. One thing that I do when I watch videos like about Japan from like a lot of YouTubers, like I tend not to enjoy them because they tend not to offer really any insight into what's actually happening or what's going on, besides the terrible pronunciation of words. They shape ice ball. Yes, I mean I've seen the videos and I've seen the guys there do, but shape. Let's see if we can do shape ice ball. It's very difficult to write from an angle like this. Oh, here, let's look at this guy. Wow. I've only had the Hibiki 12. Ooh, that's crazy. And then George says, check out Masahiro Carve. Masahiro Carve. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Masahiro. Whoa. Look at this guy. All right, this guy's a little bit crazy. Hibiki Harmony. I've not tried that one. I'll have to look for that one. Urushida. Urushida's with the Hibiki or? Oh, so he breaks that larger thing into a block, into mini blocks. You know, I've seen these multiple prong ice picks. I never knew this is really how they're supposed to be used. Or how they can be used. That's fascinating. Oh, and then he's just going to fine tune it. Wow. All right, that's pretty impressive, I think. That's pretty impressive. Masahiro Urushida. Urushido. Oh, fascinating. All right. Maybe I'll have to try to work on that. Now he shaves the ice. Oh. Wait, he's shaving ice for cocktails? Is that correct? All right, so we're rolling along, and we're kind of getting through the second third, but suddenly this last couple puffs, it's starting to take a temperature spike. It's starting to get hot. I haven't been smoking it that hard, but missed that one of the... Yes, that's exactly how we shaved it. We took the hell of the ice. And... No. If I had to do that, we wouldn't be in business. Although there are still guys out there that are shaving the big blocks with that hand shaver. I'm like, wow, man, that's pretty hardcore. Look, I have ice balls, but I have molds. You know, I've got these plastic molds they're half spheres. You put them, you connect the two spheres together, and there's a little hole on top of the cap, and you fill them up, and then they freeze and they become this. They're kind of cool. And then I have these ones that are like cubes, like big cubes, 2-inch cubes. It's fun to use them. Fun to use those. Right, it got a little bit hot that one moment, that one puff. There's a little bit of a difference in the way that it's burning. Like if you can see this right here at the edge, at the burn line, not so much on camera, but it looked a little bit oily at the burn line. No. The orbs are actually plastic because they're firm. The cubes that I'm using are those are silicone rubber because those are the flexible ones that you pop them out. For whatever reason, the orbs that I have, I got this orb one from Japan. Yeah, those are actually harder plastic. Actually, what I really want to do at some point is to like use some, figure out, learn how to use silicone rubber as a molding to create molds, because I've got some ideas to use molds, to create molds with. Actually, I need to call my friend Chris in California, and I think he knows how to do it. That could be. They're in the freezer right now. What I really need to do is actually like take them, freeze them, demold them, put them in another container in the freezer so they stay frozen, and then make more so that I can have like more. Because it would help keep my Diet Coke cold. That's a good idea. I like that. Yeah, sometimes we'll make the ice cubes from the coffee and then use it with iced coffee so that it's always coffee. So right now it's getting a little more spicy, a little more black peppers coming out. It's definitely changing from the first 2/3. It's definitely changing. It's getting a little more strength. It's building up a little bit more, a little bit sharper. Yes, no dilution, absolutely. While we're still smoking, I thought I'd share with you what's with the mailbag this week. Got a couple deliveries. Here's the first box. This one actually arrived. I don't even know how it arrived. I guess it arrived because there's this barcode here. But the FedEx guy brought it. He's like, and they put some, and they must have scanned it because it lost its air ticket. Because this actually came from Mexico. And the FedEx guy's like, "Is this you?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "It lost the label." Oh, okay. Cool. I'm glad it made it. All right, so let's open this up. It's been X-rayed, probably by TSA or Department or Home DHS. One of those two. So what this is actually coffee samples. A friend of mine, Alvaro Cascaro, he's working on some projects in Chiapas. This one's a black honey processed coffee. And he was asking me, he's like, "Hey man, can you evaluate the coffees for me? I'm interested to know what you think." And I was like, "All right, cool." Send them up. And then he called me the other day. He's like, "You know, have you?" I was like, "I haven't had the chance because I'm in the middle of renovations of the roastery." So, oh nice, he's got this thing. Ya llegamos. Esperamos que lo disfrutes tanto como nosotros. Bueno. So we'll get, once the renovations are done later in the month, I'll be able to really get into these coffees. I've got a couple coffees that I've agreed to evaluate that I haven't had the chance to do. And then the second one, it's pretty darn heavy. This one is from, Sweetwater. Sweetwater is an online music store. And you know, it's interesting, like, I bought a couple things from Sweetwater, and this guy calls me. He calls me, "Hey, this is Israel Hernandez." And he's like, "I'm your," essentially he's the rep. Like, if you're a customer of Sweetwater, they assign you a representative that's going to help you with your ordering or anything you want. I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. All right, so this is actually stuff for next week's show. Oh, look, the little, oh, that's nice. A little, sticker. Oh, this is nice. I like this. This tells you everything you need to know about your shipment. Some selection catalog. Here we are. So there's 4 of these. I'll only open one of them. This is the GatorWorks desktop microphone stand. So I got these for next week because I only have one microphone stand. I do have these boom arms, but I didn't think Gary would be very happy with us if I started clamping down these boom arms to his nice table in the Davidoff lounge. I don't think Davidoff likes, I don't think that's probably not fitting with the Davidoff experience. And I don't want to have to replace or repair the table if we end up scratching it because of these. Big candy. Now, when it comes to bases, stands with bases, I mean, they're all kind of the same. These were at a good price point. And it's real, these are always very simple. I mean, there's not much to them. There's a weighted stand, right? So, cast iron with little rubber feet, 3 of them, so nice balance. And then, oh gosh. And then the mic stand part. So basically you just screw it in as thus. And then it has a microphone, whatever you call that, screw thing. And this actually comes off, so if you want to use 1/4-20, well, no, that's not 1/4-20, this is 3/8, or whatever the other, there's, or 5/16 or something like that. There's 3 major standardized screws in media. There's this one for microphones, there's this smaller one that's usually for cameras, or or actually for other types of microphones, and then there's a thinner one, a 1/4-20, that is for the cameras. And then this has an adjustable neck, so you can extend it that much. Actually, that's quite nice. I kind of like that. I'm not going to remove that. That would just make a lot of noise. So that's some little toys I got for next week. Oh, they put candy in their pack. Yeah, I think you're right. The last time I ordered from them, they did put candy. Oh, here it is. So, Sweetwater, our sweet way of saying thank you. Oh, nice. And so we've got bit of honey. There's bit of honey, Smarties, Tootsie Roll, and a little bit of a damaged, it was very hot. And a little mint. Christmas mint. Oh, and there's also a Fireball. Here at the bottom, there's a Fireball. Nice. Thanks, Israel. So the cigar smoke, that kind of sharp heatness in the time that I've been talking has dissipated. And now we've kind of returned to form. There's a little more spiciness on the tongue, though. But very pleasant. It's very pleasant. This cigar has been very, very pleasant. I have been enjoying this quite a bit. 25-year-old, blended by a 25-year-old millennial. Female. Haters can suck it. Because so far, she's done a hell of a good job. Rusty says, that bag of candies are the leftovers that kids won't pick in a... Well, you don't like Smarties? I'll be honest, I think my last mint from the last order was sitting around here for a long time. I can use those in the trick-or-treat bags. All right, George, have a great one. See you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate you being here. And thank you very much for all the help for next week's show. Looking forward to seeing you up there in New Jersey. No candy corn. They didn't want to. They want people to return as customers, not go to Guitar Center. Oh, let's touch on that. So don't forget, next week. Ooh. So don't forget, next week, since we're getting a little bit closer, don't forget, next week we're going to be going and having the show at the Tobacco Shop of Ridgewood in Ridgewood, New Jersey, home of the Davidoff Lounge. George has arranged with the owner, Gary, to open his doors to us. See, look at that lounge. Look at that. That is... We may not be sitting there. We're probably sitting at the table, but we're going to be at the lounge next week, broadcasting at 8 o'clock on Thursday, September 9th. So if you can make it to New Jersey and join us, come join us. We're going to be there starting at 6 o'clock. Gives you time to see the store, buy some cigars, meet Gary, hang out a bit, and then we'll do the show at 8 o'clock, and should be a really fantastic time. I mean, look at that. It's just wonderful there. It's wonderful. We'll probably be at the table. I don't know where we're going to be. We're going to find out. But if you can make it, come down. We've got some nice stuff lined up for you guys. Myself, Cirillo, and George are going to be there. And also Rusty's going to come out and do the coffee for us. And so hopefully we'll get a lot of people to come, or at least a few people to come out. We don't want it to be too crazy. But come on out. Join us. It'll be a great time. I think we'll have a really enjoyable time out there. And even though the show normally runs till 10, we'll probably be there quite a bit later. Yes, quite a bit later. Yeah, try to make it classy. But, you know, when it comes to Davidoff, you have to be a little bit classy. So don't forget, next week, the Tobacco Shop in Ridgewood, New Jersey. That's going to be our broadcast center. And it'll be a nice time. It'll be a real nice time. So come on out if you can. We'd love to have you. So we're still smoking the Azul Toro from Lampert 1675 cigars. And we're drinking our vodka, our Martini with gin. And it's not, you know, it's much more enjoyable when it's colder. So we need to... That's nice. I could probably go a little bit less on the vermouth next time. And Dice says, don't forget to bring a box of Vent to have on hand to shake. I don't know if I can because there's all... Oh, to shake. Yes, I'll try to bring that. I'll bring an extra box. Actually, what I should do is put that on our packing list. Revenge box. I've been compiling our packing list. For next week. So we're here getting down to the end of the third. Let's look at what Tiny Tim had to say about this part of the cigar. I'm enjoying it, and so moving through the second third, 1 hour, 23 minutes. Oh, I guess so he took another 40 minutes to get to the second third. The same flavor notes are in play. I still get flashes of almonds from time to time. The nutmeg is quite earthy and a little leathery, and it's elevated. The black coffee is noticeable and somewhat elevated. Finish is unchanged. Cigar, you know, I never get the coffee that people talk about. Second third, 89. First third, 91. Cigar lasted 1 hour 46 minutes. The cigar got more earthy. The nutmeg and black coffee are earthier. You still have some sweet notes, but the earthiness overshadows them. The cigar is medium bodied, leaning towards medium to full. I agree with that. The finish has nutmeg and a touch of sweetness from the citrus notes with a nice lingering black pepper. The increased earthiness caused me to lower the score to 87. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Overall score 89. That's respectable. I'd probably go with a little more of like a 90, maybe even 91. I think the argument could be made for 91. It's been really, really enjoyable. Start out with nice, beautiful sweetness, light kind of citrusy notes. Also a little bit of maybe little hints of like cinnamon, a little bit of spice. Now people always talk about black pepper. I don't really get the black pepper as much in this. Maybe towards the end of the second, third, maybe a little more black pepper, then a little more. Then there was that point where we got a little more strength coming out of it, and a little more heat, and then. So at that moment, I thought maybe the cigar is going to turn and just become very difficult to enjoy. But after a few moments, those went away, and it became really nice and smooth, the cocoa and medium to full-bodied, and just very enjoyable. Overall, very enjoyable. I think I enjoyed it more than Tiny Tim. So the question is, would I buy it again? Yes. The answer would be yes, I would. At $13, though, it's a little bit pricey. You know, I would buy one or two more to smoke. It's very enjoyable. The price point would be nicer if it was cheaper. I mean, it'd be more. I'd buy more. That's really what it is. I would buy more. Like, so it's always a question then of, where'd it go? There's the question from in my personal world is always the question of the price to enjoyment ratio, and then how does it compare? At $13, like this one here, you can see the price here on this box. It says $10.95, so $11, right? $2 more, or this? You know where I'm going. All right, so I guess that's good for the moment. Thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate you. If you're joining us on the replay, leave your comments down below. Those of you joining us, thank you very much. Really appreciate hanging out with me. We're going to be, like I said, we're going to be broadcasting next week from Ridgewood, New Jersey at the Tobacco Shop in the Davidoff Lounge with Cirillo McLean and George Brightman are going to be joining us, and Rusty Ober is going to come out too. And if you can make it up there, come on up and join us. It'll be a great time. But until next time, it's been a good hang. If you need coffee, go to spurcoffee.com. I'll be very appreciative. It'll help pay for the gas for next week. Oh, and Gus, good Lord, Gus, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Gus, there's something I've been meaning to ask you about. I was watching a video on diving, deep sea diving, and I was thinking about you. So hope you're doing well. We'll have to talk again next time, but don't join us next week on the live stream. We'll be up in New Jersey. It'll be a fun time and a lot of interesting discussion going on. Thank you, Di. Have a great weekend. And Rusty, we're looking forward to see you. All right, so hope everything's going well. Enjoy your week. Have a great time, and see you next time.